وابن فاطمة الزهراء سيدتنا وسيدة نساء العالمين. غريب يا مظلوم كربلاء. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I've been asked a question by a Sunni brother. His question was, why do you as Shiites cry upon Al-Imam AlHussain, peace be upon him, and his family? Isn't he a martyr? Isn't he in heaven? Shouldn't you stop weeping? It's been more than 1,350 years. And still Shiites are crying upon Al-Imam AlHussain, peace be upon him. So, as a Sunni, I cannot answer him with Shiite narrations. I have to answer him either from the Quran or from the Holy Sunnah that they actually have in their Sunni books. So, is there an answer to this question or not? There is an answer. To every question, there is an answer. All that anyone has to do is just ask, and he will be answered accordingly. Let's start first with the Quran. We have two verses in the Quran that show that crying upon Al-Imam AlHussain, peace be upon him, is something that is not bid'ah, that is not falsified and made up by Shiites. Because what they are actually protesting is that the Shiites are doing something that is called bid'ah. They are performing some rituals in religion that were not original to Islam. Something that the Prophet, peace be upon him, did not bring. So, let's start with the Quran. Two verses. The first verse is the verse of the Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him. Ibrahim was of old age, and so was his wife. His wife was passing through menopause, so she could not bear children. Imagine a lady maybe 90 years old. How could she bear children? So the angels descended upon Ibrahim, peace be upon him, and they told him, "O Ibrahim, you will bear a child, your wife will bear a child." So he told his wife, and the Quran narrates and said, فَأَقْبَلَتِ امْرَأَتُهُ فِي سَرَّةٍ. What did she do? فَصَكَّتْ وَجْهَهَا. Sakkat wajhaha in Arabic means hitting the face very forcefully. It's not like a gentle hit, no, it's a very forceful hit. It's a painful hit. And in this situation we have three people. The wife of Ibrahim, and Ibrahim, peace be upon him, and God, who is narrating in the Quran. If this action of beating the chest in sorrow, or beating the head, or whatever be it, if it was forbidden, then in the Quran it should be specified that, "O Muslims, do not do this action." But nobody protested. The Quran did not mention anything against it. And if it was haram, then it should. If it was bid'ah, it should. That is the first thing. And also Ibrahim, peace be upon him, he did not tell her, "Oh my wife, don't hit your forehead so forcefully." He did not do that. No. He just continued the discourse. He just told her that, "No, the angels have come to me and you will bear a child," and that is it. This is the first verse. There is a second verse, which is even stronger. The verse between the Prophet Joseph, peace be upon him, and also the Prophet Yaqub, Jacob, peace be upon him. Joseph was long lost. Approximately 40 years he was away from his father. His father knew by the connection to the heavens that his son was still alive. Yet what did the Quran say about the story of Joseph and Jacob, peace be upon them both, and our Prophet Mohammed, peace be upon him, and his family? The Quran actually said, وَابْيَضَّتْ عَيْنَاهُ مِنَ الْحُزْنِ فَهُوَ كَظِيمٌ. That Jacob has cried until his eyes were whitened with sorrow, until he could not see, until he was officially blind. So Jacob, a prophet, an infallible prophet, crying upon Joseph also an infallible prophet who was alive, that was okay. The Quran did not protest on crying, did not protest on showing sorrow. It actually narrated the rest of the story, and that was it also. So this is when it comes to the Quran. Crying and weeping excessively in itself is not haram. Beating the chest and the head, whether it be for exclamation, whether it be for fear, whether it be for love, whether it be for any feeling, including sorrow, is also okay by terms of the Quran. Then we will move to the Sunnah of the Prophet. You would see many narrations, but I will focus upon two. In the Sihah, the books of the Sunnis, Al-Bukhari, Muslim, even you may see it in Musnad Ahmad and other books, you would see that Aisha was saying and narrating, the last moment of the Prophet. She said, per her narration, per her part of the story, that the Prophet, peace be upon him's head was upon her chest, between her chest and neck, and then he passed away. Then she says, word by word, so I laid his head upon a pillow and then started beating my chest with the ladies. فَبَدَأْتُ أَلْتَدِمْ. Al-iltidam, this action, is beating the head and chest in sorrow upon someone that is dead. It is narrated by Sunnis, not Shiites. This is one. A second one, by Salama. Salama is also another wife of the Prophet. There was Aisha, Salama, and many others. So Salama heard that Al-Walid ibn Utbah has passed away, and that Al-Utbah family were actually performing ceremonies so that they will, weep his death. So she came to the Prophet per Sunni narrations and told him, O Prophet, peace be upon you, may I go to Al-Utbah's family and pay my dues and cry with the ladies? And the Prophet said, yes, you may go. Also, on the Prophet's behalf, peace be upon him, there are many other narrations. I may mention an extra one also, which is that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, told Ibn Abbas, Abdullah ibn Abbas, a personality that is highly revered by Sunni Islam. He told him that my Hussein will be killed and slaughtered in Karbala, and the Prophet cried. And Abdullah ibn Abbas narrated this actually at the time when he met Al-Hussain, before Al-Hussain went to Karbala. Al-Hussain was in Mecca, and before that he was in Al-Medina. So in Al-Medina he met Ibn Abbas, and he told him this narration exactly. So weeping upon Imam Al-Hussain, beating the chest in sorrow, is not something that we made up. It is an Islamic sunnah. And the Prophet also said many narrations that are in Shiite books, and also some of them in Sunni books, that were showing that crying upon Al-Hussain is actually virtuous, and that nobody of piety would hear the story of Imam Al-Hussain and even his name until they weep. So only Hussein, this name is enough for us to weep, per the narration of the Prophet. Also, Ja'far ibn Muhammad al-Sadiq, he is actually the tutor and the teacher of all of the Imams of the Sunni section of Islam. He taught Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and Ahmad ibn Hanbal taught the rest. And the Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq used to make many ceremonies crying upon Al-Hussein. So, would we say that, for example, Aisha is doing a bid'ah because she cried upon the Prophet, or Salama did a bid'ah because she was crying upon Walid ibn Utbah? Or are we saying that Ja'far Sadiq, the Imam of Imams, was doing a bid'ah? No, it is something very Islamic. And also Al-Imam al-Rida, peace be upon him, he used to actually call upon the poet, and he called him into his house and told him, I want to cry upon Imam Al-Hussain, I want to cry upon my father, my grandfather. And so they would recite poetry to him. But then Al-Imam al-Rida would say, no, 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 don't read the poetry like that. I want to weep, read it very gently until my heart melts. And also Al-Imam al-Rida stopped him again. This poet was Du'b al-Khuza'i. He stopped him again and he told him, wait. And then he brought a big sort of barrier between them, between Du'b al-Khuza'i and the rest of the house, and brought all the ladies to weep upon Imam al-Hussein, peace be upon him. Nobody in Islamic history talked against Ja'far al-Sadiq, nor the Prophet, peace be upon him, nor also Al-Imam al-Ridha, peace be upon them all. They all showed us how to cry upon Al-Imam al-Hussein, peace be upon him. And we today are in the grand visit of Al-Arba'een. We remember the sacrifice of Al-Imam al-Hussein. I don't know how they returned to Karbala. After 40 days, Zainab, peace be upon her, thinking about Al-Hussein constantly, weeping and wishing that she would be buried with him. Imagine her walking on camelback and striding towards Karbala, reminiscing on every single thing that has happened in Karbala. Imagine what would happen then. سلام الله عليها سيدتي ومولاتي زينب، كم عانت من الأحزان وكم عانت من الآلام. قم جدد الحسن في العشرين من صفري، ففيه ردت رؤوس الآل للحفر، وكأني بزينب وهي في تلك القافلة متوجهة إلى الحسين. أنتم زوار جئتم متلهفين بعد سنتين من الحرمان، فكيف بمن رأت أخاها مجدلا على بوغاء كربلاء تأكل منه السهام والرماح وتضرب فيه السيوف، وكأنها تتذكر آخر لقاء لها بالحسين عليه السلام، عندما نادى الحسين: عباس أسرج لي على خيلي، ولكن العباس جثة مرملة على الشط. الأكبر تعال وأسرج لي خيلي، فعندما رأى أنه لا نصير ولا جواب أطرق برأسه الشريف إلى الأرض وقال: إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. فأتت زينب عليها السلام لكي لا يظل الحسين وحيدا. من ذا يقدم للجواد ولامتي والصحب صرعى والنصير قليل. فأتته زينب بالجواد تقوده والدمع من ذكر الفراق يسيل، وتقول: قد قطعت قلبي يا أخي حزنا، فيا ليت الجبال تزول. أرأيت أختا قدمت لشقيقها